Welcome to this screening of Fashion and Cinema together with Ciné Lumière and the French Institute, which is also part of a longer Godard retrospective, which is called Jean-Luc Godard Perspectives. My name is Joana Granero. I'm from Fashion and Cinema, which, as some of you may know, it's a series of events all throughout the year, screenings with talks, with Q&As, on-stage conversations, exploring the relationship between fashion and cinema, how the two fields connect, how the two fields influence each other. We also explore the work of the costume designer, how costume designers create stories through clothes for characters. The next event, the first event that we are going to have next year, will be here on this stage. We will be welcoming costume designer Bina Daigeler. She will be telling us about her work creating the costumes for Kate Blanchett and the rest of the cast for the film Tar. If you want to know more about our upcoming events, please do subscribe to our mailing list from our website, or just follow us on social media. There's not much I can add to what you already know about Breathless, Godard, Belmondo, Jean Seberg, the Nouvelle Vague. But here we have today with us someone who can say something different and personal, something special. Please welcome with me Sir Paul Smith. I'll be here downstairs.
Hello, thanks. Thanks a lot for coming. Strikes and cold weather, so appreciate it. Fantastic film you've got coming in a minute or two, but I've been asked, I'm privileged to be asked to tell you a little bit about Jean-Luc and also this film. 1960 it was made, and I think the thing that's very impressive in the fact that him and Français Truffaut and a few others were critics, film critics, and they were thinking that film was getting so similar, there was no new exciting things happening, and they were brave enough and probably confident enough to actually think, well, we can make a film and we can direct a film and we can be involved. And it was a very brave thing, and the first one was Breathless. It was made in about 28 days, I think, something like that, 30 days. It cost today's money probably about £35,000, the whole thing. Which would probably be petty cash these days for a big film. The interesting thing was it was very ad lib. The script was more or less written every night. It wasn't a big plan. What was very exciting about it was the fact that it was shot in real apartments in the streets of Paris or wherever. I mean, in parallel to that, you got people like David Bailey, the photographer, suddenly not shooting in a studio, but actually shooting in the street for Vogue magazine and people like that. So against a telephone box in a woods in the park or something. So it was there were a few people that were starting to think that they could do things differently. Jean-Paul Belmondo, I think he was 24, I think. A lot of you probably know a lot more than I do about this film. He was a young man anyway, and Jean Seberg was 20. They were just allowed to wear their own clothes in the film, so there was no costume designer. So it was very, very revolutionary. The cameraman, who's name I can never remember tonight, Raoul, I think. Anyway, the cameraman was fantastic because he came up with all these amazing angles that were so different to what people had done before, in focus, out of focus, grainy, very interesting shots. The other thing was, eventually when it came into the editing room, fast cuts and fast moving. I mean, it was such a stylish film. If it's the same, I haven't seen it for a while. If I remember, the opening shot is so stylish, where it's very close up of Jean-Paul Belmondo, and immediately it just oozes style. I think the thing for me was the fact that he started like this, and it was in black and this one's in black and white, went into colour eventually. What I find very interesting, I started my business 10 years after this was made, in a 3 metre by 3 metre room with no windows, only open Fridays and Saturdays, and with £600 worth of savings. And it was, I'm not comparing myself to this great man, but there are similarities in the fact that if you're brave enough, you can actually get on with stuff, you do things differently. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I worked doing anything to learn my trade, and Fridays and Saturdays was this little shop that I knew wouldn't take much money, but it was a purity, it was a vision, it was very much about something I wanted to do. One of the sentences I personally use a lot is, you can find inspiration in anything, and if you can't, please look again. So yes, film can influence me as a designer. It's not very rarely is it literal. It's like not taking the clothes or the actual look of the individual outfits, but more the mood, or things I've just described: in focus, out focus, sepia, close-ups can be influential for print, for instance. But it's not just film. I mean, it's art. It's this room. It's architecture. It's music. Anything could be an influence for you as a creative person. I've got a little bag here, but it's difficult to show you and hold the microphone at the same time and knock the water over at the same time. So here we go. So. Can you, if I talk like this, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. So, for instance, this is one of the other things I loved was his posters that he did, but these are like taking stills from the actual film, not of his actual film, because I'd be for copyright, but taking the influence of French New Wave, and then playing with it. Sometimes this is digitally printed. This is printed in a more basic way, silkscreen printed, so you can get different feelings. This is silkscreen. The feeling of taking a snap from a film. Then what else have I got in here? A scarf as well. So as part of looking at cinema, it's more to do with the spirit than anything else. Now, I'm just going to look at my notes in case I've forgotten something, because I actually did make some notes on a bit of paper I found earlier. No, I think I've covered everything, because it's very much about being brave, doing things in a different way. The spontaneity of his work, and is that too short, or do you want me to talk to you about it? I've gotten a bit lost now. Half 6, that's all right.
What's your
Anyway.
favourite bit of the film?
Pardon?
What's your favourite bit of the film?
Oh, the favourite bit of the film is the opening bit, because well, if I tell you, you'll know now. It's the close-up here. And just how stylish he is, and he's always got a cigarette, and the way he stands. When you take photographs in a fashion, of a fashion shoot, you can do this or you can do this, and he does this. he's particularly cool, and the fact that she looks so gorgeous in her little striped top and her pedal pushers and her little short hair. And it's just very stylish. Obviously, it's a gangster film. It's a bit like Bonnie and Clyde or something like that. There's a lot to when we have fashion shows twice a year in Paris. They cost really a lot of money. Minimum of half a million quid for 9 minutes, which is ridiculous. But so in 9 minutes, you just have people walking down the catwalk, one side of the press and one side of buyers, and so in 9 minutes you've just got to tell all your stories, and that's very much about working out what your priority are, what the main theme is. So, for instance, when I showed this collection, which was a year ago, it was very much based on French New Wave movies, and it was quite instant because you could see it quickly. Sometimes it's a lot more subtle. Collections get inspired by anything, really. I did a collection once inspired on a pillowcase, which was fairly obscure. There was the drawn thread work on the edge of a pillowcase, and so all the shirts had drawn thread work. I've done another collection that was based on going to Chile and taking photographs in the Andes and looking at all the amazing colours in the mountains. There's 16 types of minerals in the Andes, so taking those colours and using them for colour for the collection. So you can find inspiration in anything, and if you can't, look again.